Okay, let's talk about old lawnmowers. So lawnmower manufacturers keep parts for around 5 years or so, and then it kind of goes to aftermarket. But nowadays, you can go right to aftermarket. It's ridiculous. This one is a 2007, so Troy built. They list and show all the parts and everything, but what's available is really ridiculous stuff. A screw or nothing major, not like a carburetor even. So anyway, what's wrong with this is the recoil starter. What happens when you pull it? It doesn't really work. Let me show you. So what's going on? What you want to notice is it's slack. So when you pull it, sometimes it doesn't go back in all the way. It'll stop and dangle like that. Now I've taken it apart a couple of times and I've worked with the spring and I kind of got it going a little bit, but really the spring is just wore out after all these years. So what I have is an aftermarket part, $13.99 free shipping. So for about 14 bucks, I got a new pull starter. It's red instead of black, and it doesn't say Honda on it and stuff like that. It says what it's for. There are some part numbers on here that show it's for the actually has Honda numbers on here. GCV 160. Well, that's the engine. So, it's new parts, new spring. I also had an old spring from like a chainsaw or something. I could have cut it to length and replaced the OEM one. I came this close to doing it, but I decided not to. So I bought this one and it came with bolts, but unfortunately the OEM comes with nuts. So if I want to take this off, I need a 10 millimeter. I got that one loose so I could demo it and show you that it's a nut, not a bolt. And then it really reveals what the problem is too. Well, let me see. Just pops right off, but it doesn't recoil. So the recoil doesn't recoil. So anyway, the next thing to show you is that the replacement came with bolts, and I had to drill out the holes to make them bigger because the nuts go on top of here, and if you look on the machine, you see that the way they're made. The starter sits over top of this torque limiter, and in order to get that to fit, I had to enlarge the hole because it's not a bolt that goes in there, it's a nut. Now the other option I have is to take the guts out of here and put it in here. I kind of wanted to do two things if I actually did that. I actually wanted to use the old line in the new pull start because that is just a little bit short. And when it sits out quite a long ways. It hooks onto the handle. Up here, you pull it from a standing position behind the mower because you're going to have to operate these levers, which I have closed. So when you pull it, the replacement line is just about a foot short of the OEM, and you hit a hard stop. So anyway, I thought I'd like a little longer line. So I've already made the holes bigger, all 3 holes. So do I just slap it right on and use it? Well, it'll work. The line is a little bit restricted. I'd like it a little bit longer. I could use this rope, like I just said. I could swap out the parts. They are a little bit different. This one has a nut on here, and this one has like a screw. And what you want to notice is these are left-handed. At least this one is. I haven't tried this one yet. No, the replacement is normal thread. But this guy here is left-handed. So is that going to be a problem? Well, I kind of doubt it. See, if I go to tighten it and I turn it clockwise, it's actually loosening. So I want to take it out. I have to turn it in the direction that's normally to tighten. And I can take my piece parts out. There's a cover. There's the engagement legs. Then there's the recoil spring in here. It's actually wrapped around in here. Pulls out like that. Oh, there's a tensioner spring on here. Can take that out. Now, what to do? You can either untie it here or you can untie it here. I recommend untying it here, and I'll tell you why. Because if you're just going to tighten it up, it's better to untie it here and then feed it through, tie a knot on it, and you're done. You let go of it and it's all tensioned up. Alright, here's the old spring out. It just kind of popped out and got all tangled up and everything. Here's the line around here. I tried lubricating it up. If you see that it's all shiny, you know, I actually tried fixing it first. Here is the knot. You need to tie it a certain way so it fits in this little groove here. So we just kind of take this knot out. It's pretty tricky. I had to stab it a few times with my pick. Get that out. Get the line out. Pull it all the way out. What do we have? Well, it needs to run free in here, and before I cleaned it up and lubed it all up and everything, what you want to notice is there was a lot of rust in here from the spring. The spring is very weak. It just doesn't hold its tension anymore. And like I said, I could have measured out a length here, or I could just move all the parts from here to here. However, if you look real close, I know it's black on black, but it rubs up at the top here, so you know that's actually kind of a bad thing. So what I'm going to do is I am going to attempt to swap out the guts here onto here. So really all I need is the spring. I can use all the parts that are already there. So let's try that. Alright, let's see what happens when I take this thing apart. See if the spring goes boing. I'll show you how to wind it back up again. So we take our top piece off. We take our engagement keys out. Yes, there is a spring in here, but this one's pretty tight. Let me see what I can do here. I'm going to pull this out. Ooh, there goes the spring. Oh, I'm going to let it fly apart. Ready? There it goes. Alright, now I'll show you how to wind it back up again. Now I did notice the OEM spring has a little tab on it. Let me get out here. Right there. I don't know if you can see it, a little bump on there, and then if you look over here, there is a hole in it where that tab goes into that hole when you wind it up to help hold it in place, where the aftermarket one didn't have it. And what you do is you start the spring on here, and then you just start to wind it up. Get it started right on the edge here. Don't worry that it's not pulled in all the way. It'll pull itself in. So let me get this started here. And you just kind of hold it. You get it started. You feed it in. Round and round you go. Just feed it in a little bit at a time. Try not to pinch your glove. Try to stay on camera. Keep going around. And I'm gonna finish this off camera. Alright, here I am finishing it off. I am holding it down, tucking it in, and this spring is much stronger than the one that I took out. Alright, there we are. Oops, almost. I'll try to stay on camera here. There we go. Now there it is, all in place. And this is actually in the unwound position, but it's in place. See, it didn't pop out. Now we have to take this tongue, if you will, and we have to insert it. I don't know if you can see it. There's a little cutout right here. I know black on black is tough to see, but we need to set this in place on top of there so it's captured in that cutout. Okay, with the spring all wound up, you see it'll stay in its place. The only trouble is once you set it down into the top, if you try and pull it back out, it'll spring. So the next thing you want to do is, speaking of springs, is you want to put your spring in because the tongue at the end there, where it sits in the groove right here, if you don't put your spring in first, it might interfere. It might not let the spring go in all the way. So next we will capture the spring, line it all up, press it down. So I'll just get it lined up in that little groove there. I don't know if I'm on camera. Here we go. See? Just sits right on there. Alright, next we put on our engagement keys here. At least that's what I'm calling them. Didn't look up the name of the parts before I put it together. And then the pins are up. And the pins will ride in these channels right here. You can see that black on black. And then these tabs on the outside, these tabs, they will hit right in here. So that's how that works. So this will sit on there. Oops, not upside down, but this will sit on there like that. We'll put our screw in. Since I'm using OEM, it's left-handed, so I'm turning it counterclockwise to tighten it down. I'll snug that up, but you don't want to get it too tight because it needs to spin freely. So it's kind of fun to figure out that little part of it. So let me get everything in place here. Alright, so I have everything in place and it doesn't turn. Now I'm going to back off. It's left-handed, so I'll back off of it a little bit and let it turn. And now I'm going to wind it up all the way till it stops. Alright, now that we're all together and the screw is loose, we're going to turn it counterclockwise to tighten the spring up. And we're just going to keep going until we can't go anymore. Alright, so we are at our max travel. Now what that means is when we put the rope in and let go, it'll coil the rope up. So let's see where we're at. We need to line up this hole with this hole right here. So let's get those aligned. Okay, it won't go this way to align, so I'll bring this around until, there we go, we have our path right to it. Now comes the fun part. You can use your thumb to hold it, or you can always, you know, shove something in there to hold it to keep it from unwinding. But now we need to feed our line through. This is going to be fun. And then it needs to go underneath here and then through the hole. So let me work on that. So there we are. We're through and into our hole. There's a strap across here you have to go under, and then into the coil part of the pull starter, and then out. And now I'm going to get some pliers and grab that. There we go. Now actually I'm going to plug it so that I can tie my knot here. And it needs to fit into this groove in here. I like to tuck it away. So let me tie the knot and tuck it away. Alright, so here's my knot. So now I'll pull it back through. And then I'll fold it down so it gets tucked away. My hand's in the way, so let me do that. There we are, nice and tucked away. Tight. Alright, and if I take my stop out, let's see how I got it here. When I let it rewind, it'll pull the cord right in. So just let it wind the cord up nice and easy. I don't want to let it spin freely. And there we go. I don't know whether you noticed, but I'm going to have to loosen this up and tuck these in. The tabs are sticking out. They need to be underneath there. Well, let me do that. Alright, there we go. I fixed it. See how they're all tucked in? Now when I pull the rope, they spin out to engage the ears on the mower. See how they create a solid block across here? That's to engage two of these, so they'll spin out and either engage here or they're engaged here and spin the motor. Okay, by tensioning this nut in and out, in and out, in and out, what I noticed is that the line would go all the way in. Little bit of a slack. It catches a little bit. There's a little rough spot in there. I didn't clean it up all the way. See that? But that's okay because, you know, it's going to live its life extended anyway. So anyway, I have this all together. Now we'll put it in place. You'll notice that my hands are all oily. I have it lubed up because that's how the replacement came in. Snug them down good and tight. Put our cord back on the handle. Get this on. That's how it was. It was actually up like that. Tighten that down. Make sure my arm's in the way. And we'll give it a pull. Alright, let's see what we got. Now the spark plug is out. Oh, that's much better. Alright, there still is a little bit of slack in there, which is, you know, okay. It is retracting all the way. I mean, this was like dangling down previously. And I have plenty of pull where the other one fell short. It would only pull out so far. You know, it would kind of stop here. We're now with the original coil I can keep going quite a bit further. So I could adjust the tension a little bit, mess with it a little bit, but that looks pretty good to me. Alright, I'm going to stick the spark plug back in there and put it away for the winter. Yeah, it just catches a little bit, so there you go, it went in that time. And it went in that time. Went in that time. Okay, I'm saying it's fixed. Thank you for watching.